One Rock Salt Musecast Experience with Aaron and Dave, and on the Zoom call, Aaron, Sal Polichetti from Sunseed.
Uncle Sal.
Yeah.
How you doing?
There's the live studio audience for Sal.
That's right.
Hey, Sal, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing very well, Dave. Doing good.
These early morning interviews are really difficult for me.
It's early for you.
Yeah, it's early for me because it's like 11 something where you are, right?
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, they're difficult for me, but I just wanted to check in with our buddy Sal and see how how's the ticker doing?
Well, it's doing okay. You know, it's funny because if only one of these things had happened, I probably would have ignored it. My wife and I do a lot of local theater. And of course, due to the pandemic, we hadn't done anything for a year and a half. Well, in June, a play came up, a 2-person play. My wife and I rehearsed it, and we were backstage getting ready to walk on stage. And right before I walked on, all of a sudden, I couldn't catch my breath. It's like, and I'm thinking, you know what? Probably nerves because we haven't done a show in a while. Well, when I walked out, once we started the show, I was fine. Well, the next morning when I got out of bed, I was dizzy when I started to walk around the house. Now, I've had vertigo in the past, so if it was just the dizziness, I would have ignored it. But that coupled with the shortness of breath from the night before, I said to my wife, I said, look, don't panic, finish your breakfast, then take me to the hospital because I think there's something wrong. So they put a heart monitor on me and they said, oh, wow, your heart's like, you're really relaxed. Your heart's like, 42. I said, well, that's hereditary because my mom, who's 93, has a low heart rate, and 2 of my sisters have low heart rates, and I've always had a low heart rate, like 50. He says, well, it's kind of 40 something now. So why don't we keep you overnight? We'll put a monitor on you. Well, my heart never broke 38, 39 the whole night. So they said, okay, wow. Well, you know what? You're 69 years old. Your heart's not going to get any faster. You're going to need a pacemaker. Eventually, you might as well do it now while you're healthy. So they did. Put it in. Well, actually, I had to wait because they had so many other operations and mine wasn't terribly important. So I made an appointment. And I went back a week later. They did it. But a couple of weeks later, I still noticed I was still short of breath. And this is the thing, when you don't feel well, you really have to advocate for yourself. I go back to the hospital. They did EKGs. They did blood work. They did a chest x-ray. There's nothing wrong, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. And I says, no, I'm telling you, there's something wrong. You didn't do an angiogram. Do an angiogram. Oh, but we put a stent in your heart. We put a stent in you 4 years ago. Yes, but doesn't everybody have more than one artery? I mean, yeah, I mean,
right?
I mean, you would think. So
goes to make sense.
Yeah.
So the doctor was arguing with me as they were prepping me, as they were shaving my groin, getting ready to put the thing in. They were arguing with me. Well, no, but your symptoms, you only shortness of breath sometime. I says, just do the angiogram. They said, okay, we'll take a picture and we'll send you home. Well, they found another 95% blockage while they were in there.
Wow.
So it wasn't my imagination. So it took a while, but I'm feeling a little better, a little stronger every day. I've had a few band rehearsals since then. A couple hours standing on my feet playing doesn't bother me at all. So
nice.
It's a bit, as far as my exercising, I have to build up because it's been a month and a half since I did any regular exercise.
Yeah.
So I have to pace myself a little bit more, but it's going well. It's going well.
And you were telling me a story about how your mother is now getting a pacemaker, right?
Yes, she got.
So was this a race or what?
She got one a couple of weeks ago, and I tease her. In fact, that's why I'm here at my sister's house, because my mother lives here, and to give my sister a break, me and my other siblings take turns. One weekend a month, one of us will stay here with mom, while my sister, whose house this is, she and her husband take a trip. Yeah, she had a pacemaker put in about 3 weeks ago, and I tease her about it all the time. As Ma, you beat me by 24 years.
Right.
And she's doing good. She's doing good. She's not used to the fast heart rate. That's it. I think they set it at 65, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do with herself now.
speaking Greek to me. I don't know what all that means. That's for
this is not one of those pacemakers that it's not like it's not one of those where you don't have to worry about going through a metal detector. It's not going to show like that. It's not a defibrillator. It's a little battery that just regulates you. They set it to a certain heart rate. So they set mine at 6. They set mine at 60, which is probably low for normal people, but for me, that's high.
Pretty fast. Okay.
So it's like maybe it'll help me lose weight. Who knows?
There you go. You feel like you have a lot more energy now?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
And that's
that's cool. And enough energy to record and get on stage and everything.
Well, it's funny because last Saturday, Rude Boy George, my ska friends from Orange, New Jersey, that I played with in England and played a couple of times. They had a small ska reggae festival in Dallas, Pennsylvania, which I had never heard of. I didn't even know a place existed. It's like 5 bands. So they asked me, they said, we're going to be playing locally, relatively locally. Why don't, we'll do your song. We'll do an appearance. Okay, fine. Sounds good. So I rehearsed with them. Everything went great. So I came on in the middle of their set, and I don't know if it was the drummer or if it was me, but by the time I got halfway through the first verse, I realized, boy, this is really, really fast. It turned into ska punk. It was so fast. It was a good test for my pacemaker. I was spitting the words out, but it was much easier for them to dance to, I think.
Now, do you find like people are like chanting for Jesus is a friend of mine at the Rude Boy show?
And it's funny because I didn't think that because every time I do one of these, I go, oh, this is stupid. No one's going to know who I am, and it's not going to be a real big deal. And there weren't a lot of people there, but it was a nice sized crowd, and they were enthusiastic. Well, as soon as I started to sing, I looked around and I see about 30 people with their cell phones up. People taking videos, taking pictures. I mean, and I was sometimes you could do more than one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a musician, you sing the same songs for years. I'll be singing a song, and in my head, I'm thinking, did I turn the oven off? You're kind of multitasking, mental multitasking.
Right.
As I'm singing the song, I'm looking around and I'm going, I can't believe these people are still into this freaking song. I can't believe it. I just can't. And I describe it, it's like herpes. Every now and then it flares up. And when I got off the stage, same thing. People wanted to take pictures. People wanted to talk to me. People wanted to tell me what the song meant to them when they were in high school.
Oh, wow.
I had one guy come up to me. He says, it's funny. He says, I was never really a religious guy. And I think most of the appeal, especially in the ska community over in the UK, mm-hmm. I don't think the religious angle is the appeal. I think the appeal is that they like the beat, they like the tempo, they like the fact that an American wrote the song in 1981. I think that's what they like about it. But this guy was telling me, and this is the first time I've heard this either. He says, I was never really like into religion because a lot of religious music is very like preachy and in your face and, do this or God will kill you and stuff like that. He says, but your song was very bouncy and very real and very believable. And after listening to it, he goes, I went back to church.
Wow.
I went, wow.
You inspired someone.
Son of a gun.
It's crazy.
And actually, my favorite story, and I don't know if I told this on the last time I was on your show. The last time I did the ska festival in England, which was 2018. When I came off the stage, the staff photographer for the charity came up to me with a program. He says, someone asked me if you could sign a program for them. And, I don't remember, Dear Dave. So I wrote, hey, Dave, Jesus is a friend of yours. And I gave it to the guy. Well, the next day at the festival, someone came up to me and said, you're the one that signed the program for my friend. I said, oh, okay. It was your friend is Dave. He says, yes. Dave had a very hard time. He went through his second divorce. He had a very very bad health scare, and he was depressed, and we were trying to cheer him up and trying to make him, make him feel better. And one of our friends just decided to play your song for him. Figure maybe it'll make him laugh or cheer him up. Right. He says, well, he listened to it like every day for like a month. And now I made him feel better. He went back to church.
Wow.
So I just want to thank you for my friend.
Wow, that's a crazy story.
And it's like, and then I turned to my wife and I says, that's the reason. That's the reason this whole thing happened.
Does it ever surprise you that, like you and I had a text conversation about a month or so ago, because in one of I'm in a Christian metal group on Facebook, and someone put up there, someone posted something that said, name your favorite forgotten Christian metal band from the 80s or something like that, right?
And someone said Sunseat.
And someone said Sunseat. So I took a screenshot of it because I couldn't tag Sal on it.
Yep.
I took a screenshot and I texted it over to Sal, right? I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And you were very nice. You were like, let him know. Thank you very much.
It is what it is, and I met at one of these festivals that I play with at Rude Boy George. I met Mephistopheles, who apparently I didn't realize is a popular ska band for 25 years. Of course, not being a ska guy, I had never heard of them until they told me that they were going to be there. They're a satanic ska band. But ska is so uplifting. How could you turn that dark? He says, well, they have a habit of doing it. And I Google searched a couple of their songs and I found one, Satan Stole My Weed. That was the name of the song. So I went to go to the festival, and backstage, and for some reason people recognized me. The guy came up to me and said, hi, I'm so-and-so from Mephistopheles. I said, oh, nice to meet you. And I said, I just want to tell you, I says, Jesus would not have stolen your weed. And he said, you're probably right.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. And people say, oh, and he asked me, oh, did you see Satan as a friend of mine on YouTube? I says, it is what it is. And imitation is a most sincere form of flattery, I guess.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. Doesn't really offend me at all. It is what it is. I wrote the darn thing so long ago. It has taken on. It's almost like I don't matter. It's taken on a life of its own.
I'm just rolling with it.
I'm just rolling with it.
Yeah.
In fact, now, as we speak in England, the charity that runs the festival, Specialized UK, they're making an album. They're taking contributions from bands that they want to put it out for Christmas time as a fundraiser. So one of the members of the Scapones mentioned to me, says, why don't we take your song and kind of like change it a little bit? I mean, not so much where it's not recognizable, and then we'll write words. We'll write different words to it. I said, okay, fine. So they recorded the music. They sent me the music. The music is good. In fact, they're going to send me a portion where I'm going to actually play the bass on it. And guys sent me the lyrics that they wrote. And so if you have any changes, feel free. So I'm reading the changes, and some of them are a little too, well, let's put it this way. One of them was where Jesus is saying, he's a friend of mine and a friend of yours. Jesus is always watching. So kids, do your chores.
That's a pretty good line, actually.
And I read that and I says, it kind of has a Elf on a Shelf kind of a feel, like Jesus is watching them and gonna get them if they don't do something right. I says, so I suggested, I didn't write it down. I don't really remember what the change was. And I told him, I says, rhyming yours is not actually an easy word to rhyme. I was going to say, and he forgave tax gatherers and whores, but I figured that wouldn't be very good for a Christmas song.
Oh,
think I said-
man.
I think it was he's open, he's coming to greet you, so open up your doors or something on that effect.
It's something like that. Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. At least they didn't use the whore line.
Yeah, there you go. You don't sell a lot of Christian records when you use those type of words.
I guess.
Oh, so you're doing stuff with the Rude Boy George and big plans for Jesus Is a Friend of Mine.
Yeah, well, the recording, which I've looked. If you can't find it, I'll send it to you again. We really haven't.
I'm always losing stuff, Aaron.
We haven't kind of decided really. They don't know if they want to make it a vinyl single or release it digitally, or because apparently vinyl is a big collector's thing now. Again,
Yeah.
The problem is a flip side. I said, Rude Boy George, put one of your covers on there. Put one of your songs on the other side. Most of their stuff they recorded are covers, but that's fine because they do it. They take popular songs like "Talking in Your Sleep" by the Romantics,
Right.
or what's that Rod Stewart song? "Young Hearts Be Free Tonight."
Oh, Young Turks.
Young Turks,
Young
and
Turks.
they do great ska reggae versions of those songs. They just take it. All you do is change the beat a little bit and it becomes a reggae song. But they're great at that, and their stuff sounds really good. And like I said, one of the women in the group is a video editor, and her husband is a cameraman. So the couple of videos that they've done, they've shot the band's videos and she's edited it. So the problem is getting everybody in the same room at the same time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to do something with that really in the next few months. We'll see what happens.
If you do a video, this is just my 2 cents. Dress up like you did in the original video. Do it kind of like Dave Grohl style, where he just kind of make it fun.
Well, I was thinking somewhere if I'm like walking somewhere, walking through a house or walking through a room somewhere, and there's stuff and it's hanging on a hanger.
Well, that would be my house, Sal.
and I'll walk by it and stop and look and turn around and look at it again and go, hey, I remember that.
Hey, fun party.
Yes.
And of course, the funny thing about that is, and I don't know how many people know that, you guys probably know, because I probably mentioned it before, is that we didn't normally dress like that when we played.
Yeah, you told the story last time you were on the show that
The NBC
well, go ahead.
people.
Tell them again. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the-
Well, I was going to say, why don't we take a break and then we'll
Okay.
come back
All
and
right.
tell the story.
And yeah, you can hear the story of the
Yeah.
video.
the outfit.
All right. The Rock Salt Musecast Experience.